15-inch.
Oh, dude.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Once again, it is a new episode of Basic AF. It's Tom and Jeff. Jeff, how's it going, brother?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I was just dancing like Donald Trump did at that thing.
Whoa, I was not expecting that.
You were not paying any attention to it.
I saw you dancing, but I'm trying to think what I'm going to say as the show starts. It's hard for me. I'm not that smart.
And you can't do two things at once.
No,
yeah, I was doing the...
for sure not.
The Trump tango.
Well,
so anyway.
Yet again, friends, be glad this is an audio show, not video. And... yeah, you were spared that. I got to see it. I'll take it for you, though, Homer.
Yeah. At least I'm dressed.
Yeah, so welcome back to this show. We do appreciate you being here with us for this one. If you are new, welcome. Hey, we're happy to have you here with us and hope that you will enjoy it enough to add us to your playlist. If you have feedback on any of these things, questions on topics, feedback on Jeff's dancing, my stupidity, whatever it is, feedback at basicafshow.com is how you can contact us if you want to do such a thing.
That is correct. That is correct. You can do that. By the way, we are show numero 19, man. We're at the precipice of 20, which, you know, in years, I might like that back. And
I would take it.
Yeah, I would too. And these brains.
So
20 and these brains.
I think in that first podcast we did back in 2011, with our friend John, I think we got up to 30 couple episodes.
Did we get that?
I think we did, because that was a weekly. So we were doing that on a weekly, which is probably why we burned out and just stopped. So it's like, that's a lot of work.
Maybe you guys pulled me in later in the game, because I do not feel like I was.
I think we did.
I was 30 in.
Yeah, I think we got.
You needed my brilliance to make it good.
Take it next level, right? Which is why I reached back out to you for this one. See, yeah. So, but yeah, that's if we can beat that, I think we're on to something anyway. But
yeah, at least we're still having fun, I think.
Yeah, that's the main thing. If it stops being fun, we'll just stop the show. It's not like we're making any money.
We're never stopping.
Probably not. We got nothing else to do.
Correct.
Yes. So the last show that we published will be 2 weeks ago by the time this one drops out. But that was the day that iOS, iPadOS, watchOS, tvOS, and HomePod, whatever they call that software these days, were all released then. And just this past week, we've had macOS Sonoma released. The new iPhones and Apple Watches have shipped. So there's a whole lot of new stuff, Jeff. And so I figured for this show, we'll just talk about the new stuff. You've got something new to talk about.
I do. I picked up a titanium iPhone, 15-inch. And
15-inch? Man, I don't know, dude.
I swear, I swear this every time. Maybe it's a lie. I have not been drinking. iPhone 15 Pro, 15-inch MacBook Pro.
I think that's going to be the next iPad size. I think is like a 15.
15? Okay,
yeah,
that's fine. So I'm seeing the future.
If we had a bet book, we could put it in the bet book.
We don't have a bet book. I don't have enough money as it is. I don't need to be betting what I don't have. Anyway, sorry. iPhone 15 Pro Max, not 15-inch, although, who knows? Maybe someday that'll be a thing. Did pick up in the titanium. I did have to wait for it a couple of days. I went to the AT&T store, ordered it, and I got it. This is the first time I'm using a Pro Max.
That's right. You upsized.
Correct. I did upsize. And I will say it is not significantly different than what I was holding when I had, the last one I had was 13 that I traded in with a leather case on it. This one is running around naked, at least for the moment. And the size is not significantly different than that. So in my hand, I'm not, I thought it might be a little, right. Jeez.
Okay, continue, Jeff.
Listen, I wasn't being filthy. You are.
I'm just, no. You walked right into it.
I got 15 inches in my hand. Sorry.
You don't lie much, do you?
No, not much at all.
This one's off to a great start.
We've fallen off the rails straight ahead. So
yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.
It's great. So the phone in my hand is not significantly different, or doesn't feel significantly different than the 13 Pro that I was using before. So it's nice feel. The width is not that big a difference. It's taller, definitely taller, and that is where the biggest part of the difference is. One downside to this is that in my car, I now have to use a plug to charge my phone, because it had MagSafe wireless charging in the car. It no longer fits in the place where it used to go. It's a little taller and therefore does not sit in that spot. It's not a big deal. I just picked up a cable and plug it in. But that is
a thing.
That is a thing. It's important to note too that often when I was doing that wireless charging, the thing heated up so much that it would not charge. It got a little too toasty. But
right.
Small potatoes as far as that's concerned. Really loving the camera. I think, did I send you pictures yesterday? I don't think I did.
Not yet. No.
Okay. Yeah. So not quite the harvest moon. We're almost there. But last night I was walking home and the moon was up over the mountain behind my house. Took a nice little picture, which I'll send to you. Used the
wait, that one you did send. Yeah, I take.
Oh, I did. I sent you the moon. So stop. My mind is bad enough already, Tom. Don't tell me I didn't send you things when I did. Oh, I remember that.
It's an abusive relationship.
It is. Yeah, and that's why we love each other.
Pretty much.
So the new lens, really, really nice. I've been just goofing around with it. I did send you a few of those pictures where I, did wide angle view of my
your
desk
feet.
in the room.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, my feet. Right.
Yeah.
So
great.
Well, I know you're into that, Tom.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sorry, folks. We're really just like a hot mess.
It's been a long week.
It has been. So really loving that. But and this is, in this moment, I'm going to say this. I don't know if I needed to make this purchase. Why do I say that, Tom? I love the camera, but the reality is I would not buy a $1,000 camera every 2 years.
Nor would I.
You know what I'm saying? I would not pay $1,000 to have a better camera every couple of years. And that is, to me, the most significant piece of this upgrade.
You said you were coming from the 13, correct?
I came from the 13.
Okay.
And I loved the 13. The battery life was getting a little, I won't say it was bad. It was still running all day, but not what I was used to.
Yeah.
But in terms of what I got for my buck, I got an extra lens and some other features, some other photographic features, which is really what, I always go by the adage that, what's the best phone to have? It's the one that you have with you. Mm-hmm. What's the best camera?
Right.
There we go. See, I don't know what I'm doing tonight, Tom.
You should drink.
I should, because I'd probably be better. So what's the best camera? It's the one you have with you. And I always have the phone with me, and I always take pictures. I take pictures almost every single day. So, I'm happy to have the new lens. Mm-hmm. But if I were using, photo kit, my old Nikon, I might have bought a new lens, and I would have used that lens until the end of the time. And then when I bought a new Nikon, if I did that at some point in time, those lenses all still work with the same camera body. So I have been on an every 2 year upgrade plan. That's the way I've been for a long time. I don't know whether I'm gonna need to do that going forward, unless they have some kind of transporter beam in the next one. It's not, to me. I've reached a point where the speed of my last phone was fine.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask about that.
Really good. What's that?
I was going to ask about that. If you've noticed any perceived speed increases with what you do day to day, because you can throw the benchmarks on and it'll say, oh, it's 35% faster, but in a daily usage of the thing, it's hard to
what I do.
detect.
It does take pictures really quickly now.
Right.
So you and that was one of the things that they shot for, that you press the button or you tap that little tapper, it takes a quick picture, right? That for sure, it's doing really quickly. But on my day to day, I don't know. And it's kind of, that came to be the case with computers. I used to get like a new MacBook or PowerBook back in the day.
I miss those.
I do. They were nice, right? A little beefy.
I mean, if you had to use it today, obviously it would be very crappy because
but
we've progressed so far past that. But at the time, they were really great.
Yeah, but as far as computers, I need a new one every 8 years now.
Mm-hmm.
7 years. I wait till it really, really runs down. Like the one I have now, especially thanks to the thieves, I can't see outgrowing it for 7 or 8 years. There's just no reason to do that. And I feel like for myself, this is not going to be true of everybody, but for myself, the phone is more than enough. And to upgrade just for a camera and spend that much money just for a camera, I don't think I need to do it anymore. Cool to have the tech. I like it.
Yep.
But I don't know if I need it. And I'm going to say, I got the titanium. It's nice.
That just sounds funny.
I know. Titanium.
Whoa.
Sounds like some Marvel, Marvel bad guy.
The guy didn't make the cut. Like, sorry, you're out. We've got everyone out. Titanium is out. One of those things.
He's going to be an evildoer now.
He's the me of Marvel characters.
I got to say, this season of color ain't so hot on these. Like, it's okay. It looks like silver, to be frank with you. And when I compared it, when I was handing in my my 13, which I had the green 13, which I liked, but even that looks kind of like this new titanium, the
natural titanium,
natural, whatever. Is it really natural, Tom?
Oh, that's what they say. It's got to be if they say it.
It doesn't look all that different to me. It's just like it's okay.
That's the thing. Like I agonize. Well, I don't agonize anymore. But I used to say, well, I'll always get the silver one. Maybe I'll get space gray or whatever. But then I always put a case on it, and so all I really see is the bump out around the camera.
Yeah,
and that's all I see. But whatever. So with those lenses that are in the new one, when you're in the camera app, what do you have in there? Like 0.5, 1, 2x, and 5x? Is that what you
Correct.
get?
That's the way it shows up. And so you end up with an extra one. It was kind of interesting. I can't remember. Maybe it was Mac Rumors, and I can't remember if you sent it to me or if it's something that I saw. But they, they're using like a prismatic mirror in it to be able to get that kind of depth on that lens. Somebody had done a mock-up of how deep it would need to be, and if it was an actual lens, and it was sticking out about 3/4 of an inch. Yeah. So that's pretty miraculous. That works really well. I have the action capabilities now, so I did not have that in the previous version of. I don't think the iPhone 13 had the ability to for you to run down the street like that ad with the mom chasing her kid as he's running a race. She's bouncing all over the place.
13. I don't think
it had.
I think they put that in on the 14.
Right. You have it, or you have it. I have it now. I used it to shoot some birds on my bird feeder, to shoot pictures. I didn't shoot the birds. No PETA people, please.
Yeah, action mode. Yeah, it's on there on the 14. I've used it maybe once.
I used it to shoot video of birds on my bird feeder. Worked great. Because usually, I can't get quite close enough to them. The new lens gets me a lot closer than it did before. Mm-hmm. But I had to zoom in a little in addition to what the lens was to be able to get a good look at the bird. And I put on that action mode because the further you zoom, when it's handheld, it gets jacked up. It looks like you're on an ocean liner in a bad storm. At least when I'm holding it, it does. Action mode was great. It centered. You wouldn't even know that I was wobbling around in the way that I was. So it did great work of being able to keep everything in there. So I like that. The new
and you sent me that link with the part of the review where they used action mode. Who did that? I can't remember his name. I know as soon as you say it, I'll be like, yeah, definitely that was who it was.
Yeah. I'd have to look back at what I've sent you in the past. And
we've been chatting a lot.
We have been. I don't know if you want to call it chatting, Tom.
Well, it's mostly me raging out, but
yes. Hold on, I'll tell you who it is. I'm scrolling back. You're not talking about the Angie Agar.
No.
Ooh, man, she's doing. Sorry, completely off topic, but the football Maven, she's the best. I just gotta say, she does amazing recaps of football week, especially for me, a guy who doesn't watch football. I'm scrolling back. It's a long ways.
It's a long ways back. Yeah, it
is.
Hold on. Tyler Stallman.
There we go. Yeah, great. So he had some thoughts about the action button. I have switched the action button, as I said I would, to Halide. I downloaded a new little app, which is actually not an app. It just really adds a bunch of actions to shortcuts that are pretty useful, that I think I'm going to make it so I can do a couple of different things with the action button. But right now, the action button holds Halide, or opens Halide when you hold it. Sorry, I was jumping ahead in my mind. You have to hold it down. You can't just click it. So, which is probably a good idea, because then you don't accidentally open
trigger stuff all the time,
pocket, right? Is that a camera in your pocket, or you use that piece? No.
I thought we had steered away from that, but here we are yet.
I'm back, Tom. Sorry, I'm the worst. So one of the things that he said, what was his name again?
Tyler Stallman.
Yeah, okay, Tyler Stallman, which we should probably post that video. It was a really good video about the photography features.
Yes.
He's a professional photographer, about the photography features. The placement of the action button, little high. It's above, the volume switches where you'd expect it to be. And it makes more sense now that it is not a mute, a silence switch. It makes more sense for it to be, I think, beneath the volume buttons, where it's easier to get at with your thumb.
Right, which would be more about the halfway point.
Yeah, you want it about the halfway point, and it is not, and particularly on the Pro Max, which is bigger, I would have to look at it and see where they actually align. But because the Pro Max is bigger, that's a reach. I can get to it, but it's definitely a reach. So maybe in some redesign, it might make more sense to have that sit below the volume button, since it's no longer a volume toggle. I never have the volume on my phone.
Me either. I always have that off.
Yep. So I don't need, that button was useless to me. I didn't use it for anything except for when you went to like some video games. If you played them, you needed to have the volume on in order for you to be able to do it, unless you had headphones on. But other than that, there's no reason to do it. So, but I will say I love the feature, and I'm looking forward to doing a little more work with that to kind of add some other options where I can do select from a list, maybe if I want the camera open, but make it easy. But the ease with which I can now open Halide, which, remember, I did the little tap the back twice.
Yep.
Or knock 3 times on the ceiling if you, tap 2 times. I know, it's the worst show ever, because you're stuck with me singing, songs from a long time ago that nobody knows. If I no longer need to use that, I can just open Halide that way. So I like that a lot. I do enjoy, I don't even know what it's called. What's the silly thing at the top called? I'm supposed to be, this is a tech podcast, right?
Oh, the Dynamic Island.
To know the things. Dynamic Island.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. I'm finding that there are a lot of things about it that I enjoy. But I will say again, buying the phone for the dynamic island, you know, I don't. That's not enough. I don't think to justify.
No.
You know,
and especially that's down on the 15 now too. So if you really wanted that, you could save a few bucks and just get the regular iPhone 15, which is, at least from what I recall from the event, it sounds almost just like the 14 Pro, but it's now just the 15 because
right,
15 Pro. So that's a really solid phone.
It is, yeah, absolutely solid. So anyway, from that perspective, you know, I'm happy to have the camera, but I am gonna, I think, start rethinking my, you know, once every 2 years, upgrade your phone point of view. I don't know that I need to do that anymore, you know.
Right.
Unless there's something.
You know, we get a big redesign or something groundbreaking comes out, then it's like, okay, well, that'll kind of maybe throw my pattern.
But what is groundbreaking
at this point for a phone? Nothing.
Yeah, right. You know, I don't see.
I mean, it's like how groundbreaking are we with laptops these days? I mean, yeah, they look nice, but it's a laptop.
Sit down and do work.
Same form as the PowerBooks we talked about 10 minutes ago. And so I've got the 14 Pro now, and like you, I usually do the every other cycle, and I'm on the fence about that. But we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm perfectly content with what I have.
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is, and I don't think I knew it until I had this in my hands, but I was perfectly content with my 13.
Yeah. Now, did you hand that down to someone or trade it in? Or?
Normally I would have. My son, who was driving my 11, he was ready for a new phone, and I was going to hand it down to him, but we both decided that he'll get a new one. So he is actually getting the same one that I have.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I usually do is
titanium.
And hand it down.
I did get these through AT&T, and you know, you have to sell your soul to them, but they were giving basically I got $1,000 for my 13 from
okay. Yeah, it helps.
Yeah. So, you know, they trade in for $1,000 and I get, you know, this for.
Those marketers know what they're doing.
They do. And, you know, for me, who's not going to be doing anything for 3 years probably anyway, I'm perfectly fine. So he's doing the same thing. They gave him 800, 700.
Wow. For the 11?
Maybe 600. I can't remember. I'd have to ask him. But he,
that's pretty good.
For that 11.
Yeah,
Pro.
I think a coworker, I want to say got 600 or 700 for hers. She got the 15 in the blue color.
Okay. And how's that look?
I haven't seen it in person yet. I'm going to try to get over to her.
So how do you know
tomorrow
she really has it, Tom?
I believe her. She's trustworthy.
Is she?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. Well, I'm a little mad at her because she's leaving us for a new job, but that's beside the point. I'll still appreciate her phone and everything. No, we are really sad that she's leaving. She's been great, but she's got a really sweet offer, and so we're tremendously happy for her as a person. But in our selfish ways, because she kicked butt. She was great.
Great.
So,
is she a student or a former student?
No, she came in just right at the start of pandemic stuff, just before. She was a referral by someone else, and she's one of our help desk technicians.
Okay.
Yeah, but she did she built up our work study technician program and all the training and really knocked it out of the park and did a great job. Great. So, yeah. Hate to see her go.
Good for her. Yes, understood.
All right, so the new phone, sounds like you're pretty happy with it. I mean, the phone itself, you're perfectly fine with.
The phone is
did you really need to get it? Probably not, but you got it and you're
right.
It's fine.
I'm not disappointed with it. I do like it. The rounder edges on this too. It is, like I said, naked. We can talk about bull strap in a minute, but after you talk about watchy stuff, but the edges, it has a really nice. I'm going to sound like a sommelier here now. It has a nice hand feel, mouth feel for wine.
God, that's so pretentious. I can't stand it.
Well, pretentious. What can I tell you? It really, those edges are really, really nice.
Yeah, like everyone seems to like that, and I think What's probably helped you a good bit with the upsizing to the Pro Max is that it's lighter. And so
It is
your net weight increase. I'd be curious. I haven't looked it up to see like how much the 13 Pro was, in terms of weight, and then what the 15 Pro Max is, and to see how close they are. But it probably has helped you out because my wife has the 14 Pro Max, and that's junky. Like it's got some heft. So.
No, this is I held this. When I was trading it in, I held them both side by side, and this is definitely lighter than that was.
That's pretty good.
But it's still got some heft to it. And I do like that. I don't want it to feel
Doesn't
like
feel
it's
cheap.
Piece of garbage, right? It does feel very nice. And the fact that the width is roughly the same, I think makes a big difference too.
Yeah,
the screen on it, by the way,
size, but
ice cream bar. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
ice cream sandwich,
candy bar, whatever they call it. So that they're not super big. Remember when the 7? Oh God, what did they call it? The 7, the big 7, like the
yes,
right. I had that.
Those were huge.
It was massive. Yeah. Like God, but the screen was big, but that's back when they still had like the home button and everything. So you had that on top of the big screen. So those are really, really big and heavy. Case wise, you do not have a case yet.
No. So funny story. Is I ordered a bull strap case,
as talked about in the last show.
Correct. And I got it and looked at it and go, "You're a dork." I ordered I didn't order one for the 15 Pro Max. I ordered one for the 15 Pro.
It's what you've bought for years, though, so that makes sense.
Right. I just wasn't even looking at it. Didn't even think twice when I ordered. It was just, oh yeah, this one. I have gotten in contact with their customer service though, and they're brilliant. I will say, first of all, the bull strap case, lifetime warranty. They will replace it up to twice a year.
Holy smokes.
Right? Up to twice a year on their warranty. You have to send pictures and stuff like that.
Right. But that's expected. Okay. Yeah,
but
not too bad.
About this, they were really cool. Like I didn't want to return it. I needed to do something special to exchange it because they didn't give you the option to exchange for a larger size. But I contacted them via email. It took me a couple of emails back and forth. But I'm sending this, this new old one unwrapped back to them. Not unwrapped, sorry, still in the box. And they're sending me back the 15 Pro Max, which is really, really nice. But they've been really charming to deal with. And by the way, we have no sponsors, but I'm perfectly happy to say that Bullstrap is amazing. I also ordered this week, because this is kind of crazy, I ordered a package of 4 AirTag holders because they were not, I guess they're not making them anymore. So I'm getting 4 for the price of essentially 1, according to what their old
from Bullstrap
price scheme was. From Bullstrap.
Nice.
So yeah, really, really nice stuff. So I will have a leather case. I tried to go out and buy a fine woven case just so we could talk about it here. It was
seems to be the rage with the kids these days, is to talk about that.
Yeah, well, I don't believe it until I touch it. So
which I saw one. Did I tell you that? I saw
you.
Friend of the show, Gannon's. We met up a couple of weeks ago.
You said he hated it too, right?
Well, at that point, he did not have the phone. He just had the case, and so we met up, and because the case they shipped the cases that kind of week before the phones started to arrive, and so he got like on a Monday or Tuesday or something. But anyway, we met up, and he showed it to me, and at that point, some of the early people had gotten them and had looked at some of the things online about it, and my initial take on it wasn't quite as negative at first glance as some of the other people have had, but it ain't great. It's a weird texture, like the way it feels is weird, and he did end up sending it back. It started to kind of fray a little bit already, and he'd had the phone in there for just a few days, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna send that back. That's not going to cut it." And I've seen some other pictures that some people have posted, and I don't know. if Apple will make money off of it, they'll continue to sell it. And if they do not, they'll come up with something else. So.
Right. Yeah, I will.
And by the way, the leather cases we talked about last time too, those have not been good of late either. So it's you trade one for the other. And I think the thing, and we talked about it, and Gannon mentioned it to me too, that his words were it felt more like a $29 case than a $59 case. And I think that's what a lot of people have said. They're like, if this was $29 or $39, then okay, it's not too bad. Right. But you're telling, okay, we're not doing the leather cases, which are the upsell, right? For the cases, you get your silicone, then you get the leather. And this is to replace it, but it doesn't quality-wise feel like a replacement. It feels like 2 or 3 steps below that. So anyhow, I won't get one of those. That's why I'm really curious to see once you get the leather case that you've got coming. Not that I'm not even in the market for one. Like the one I have from Apple, for the 14, I got black this time, so you can't really tell like when the edges and stuff get dinged up. So it'll be fine. But
yeah, and I will say I did look at that bull strap leather one before I, Yeah,
and you said you really thought it looked high quality, right?
Frigging ridiculous. And it's the kind of thing like the Apple cases don't age well.
Not anymore. They used to.
This I feel like is going to age pretty well. Like it's gonna be pretty nice. Yes, I'm killing the ozone by having leather. But I still am gonna, I think, try to go naked most of the time. Then maybe if I go out to dinner or something, I'll put the leather case on it. So it
dress it up a bit.
Yeah. Which I do change my watch faces to match my clothes. Like I change the color of my watch face to match my shirt.
Why not?
It's just a silly, fun thing to do. But but I will have the fine woven, and we'll have a little talk about that next week. I thought I was going to get it sometime yesterday or today, but it's arriving apparently tomorrow. Thank you, Amazon. And I couldn't get them. Actually, I went to Best Buy to try to get one, and they had sold out of everything other than one silicone case.
Jeez.
That was it.
Usually the way it goes that first week, it's like, well, we got 20 and we sold them all. So it's like, okay. All right. So we will continue to monitor the case situation with you as that comes in. Software side of things, we got a whole bunch of new software, as we talked about at the top of the show. You'd been running the betas all summer once they came out. So I don't think,
for the last month. I think.
Okay. You didn't jump in right away. So you've had those for a while. I had only run the beta of Sonoma on the work machine. And as betas go, that one was pretty solid. And so I upgraded my Mac Mini on Tuesday when it came out and haven't noticed any issues with that. I haven't spent much time on that, and we'll get to that in a minute. It's kind of a low-key upgrade.
It definitely is.
Some little quality of life things depending on which applications you use. Like it's nice to have the widgets on the desktop. I kind of like that. The screensaver desktop, of course, once they showed that, I kind of expressed how happy I was about that. It has not been a disappointment. That has been great. But I think that kind of says in terms of features, if you're talking about widgets on the desktop and screensavers as the marquee features, it's a service pack, as they used to say for Windows back in the day.
Yeah, it's interesting because Apple, for a while, and they kind of got off this cycle for a while. Like if I think back to Snow Leopard, what they would do is they would do a significant upgrade, and then they would do some retooling underneath. So you didn't get a lot on the front end.
Right.
And then they would do another significant facelift. And then the next version they would do something.
Leopard, Snow Leopard, Lion, Mountain Lion.
Yep. All of those.
Almost did some of that with Sierra, High Sierra, but they've
not quite. And they kind of fell off of that when they were doing the trying to match the iOS and now iPad OS and macOS cycle. They're trying to do everything at once.
Right.
And
it's a little bit they're damned if they do and damned if they don't, because if they don't do a Mac upgrade to bring the iOS stuff over, then people say, see, they don't care about the Mac, they only care about the iPhone. And then when they do it, it's like, why are they upgrading all the time? We don't need an upgrade every year. And it is what it is. I think they do aim to do a good job. Sometimes they nail it. Sometimes they fall short, like we all do.
Yeah, I would say that's true. But I'm very happy with Sonoma. It's funny. I had to adjust settings on my computer in order to enjoy the benefits of the screensaver, because I usually just have my computer blink off. I never go to a screensaver. Right. So I really am enjoying that. And it's also changing my desktop backgrounds in the same way. So gorgeous pictures.
That, that whole transition from when you log in and the screen kind of comes to a stop. Man, that's really nice. It really it seems so simple, but it's such a nice effect.
And those are the nice details that you like to have happen. It's like in the last, the preceding iOS update, where, which both you and I raved about it, and I still love this feature, is that where it changes your home screen, or your lock screen is really the one I have to do this with, where it changes the pictures on everything.
Yeah. Still using it.
Same, and I get so much delight out of that.
Every day. Multiple times a day.
Correct. And what's really kind of cool is now that I have a phone that has an always-on screen, I can see pictures there too, which
takes it next level, really, because because sometimes you're just looking around and you'll be like, oh, look at that, I haven't seen that picture in forever, and then it kind of pops up. So those are really nice touches.
Agree. So
go ahead.
Oh no, just good stuff. And iOS, the current version of iOS, like I said, like you said, I've been working on it for a little bit, and it's been solid. There's nothing really that drives me nuts.
Any of the major new features in iOS you're taking advantage of or liking that stick out?
No. Like which one? I don't know. Like it's not, and this, I think this kind of goes to my point. I will say, the thing that I have noticed, and this is probably a new phone thing, is that my ability, particularly with Dynamic Island, to connect to AirPods and AirPods, HomePods, that is working much better. But I don't know that that's an OS update, and there's not a lot of stuff under the covers that I've taken advantage of. I don't think. I have to kind of look around and play with it a little bit and see if there's anything that even appeals in some of the new features. So the answer is, I've been a bad user in that regard.
Well,
talk to me, Tom.
I mean, geez, we do a podcast and all.
Yeah, I know. I'm supposed to pretend like
use every single thing. Yeah.
Right.
So some of the messages stuff we've fooled around with. They did redo that app tray, for lack of a better word. I don't know if that's exactly what they call it, but when you're in a message, and prior to iOS 17, it had that little bar that would run across the top of the keyboard there. You can choose images or stickers and things like that. They changed that, so you just get right next to the text field, you get a plus symbol, and then you tap that, and then that brings up the list of apps. I kind of like that better. It took me a little while to get used to it, just because it was different. Especially once I figured out you can press and hold on the list and rearrange things, so your most common ones are up at the top, like the images one was kind of down too far, so I moved it up. Press and hold on that plus sign takes you right into the photo selector. So if you want to send someone a picture, you don't have to necessarily tap plus and then photos. You can just hold on the plus and then the photo selector comes up. So that's kind of a nice little touch there. So I do use that. I like that. I haven't done much in terms of like the new gestures for messages where you can that swipe to reply and things like that.
I haven't done that. Have done in FaceTime an accidental thumbs up and had it go thumbs up.
Yeah, we were doing that in Zoom today at work, and because it carries over to that, right? Because it's part of it. The stickers, the new thing with the stickers where you can do it on your photos, that's nicely implemented.
It is, actually.
I'd not say I'll use it a lot, but it's very nicely implemented. It was kind of fun to play around with. And my mom got excited about it, so I showed her how to do it. Now she's sending everyone stickers, so they're probably cursing my name for that. So that was kind of nice.
What I have used, and kind of used by accident because I wasn't even thinking that it was there, but I screened a phone call the other day. I was getting a phone call from someone.
Yeah.
And I it was not a number that I recognized. And so I kicked it to voicemail, and it put the voicemail on the screen. I was able to pick it up and talk to the person in the middle, which was great. It was somebody I needed to talk to.
Good. It wasn't about your extended warranty.
No, it definitely wasn't about my extended warranty. It was something, it was, hey, I'm here at the place and you're not here. And I was expecting a phone call before, like when the person was on their way. So I was able to pick it up and say, hey, I'm getting in the car. I'll be right over, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's a nice feature. It's old school in terms of, screening your messages, but I did use it and I really do like that. It's pretty great.
I've looked at Standby a little bit. I think in the last show I called that by the wrong name. It's Standby, not. I keep wanting to say it's Nightstand or something. I can't remember what I said, but it wasn't right. It was something stupid I said. But I have looked at that. Problem with me for that is I think that would be nice if you've got a MagSafe charger where you can plop the phone up there and then you can actually use it. But I don't have that yet. But it's making me consider maybe doing that. We'll see. Interactive widgets, that's nice.
I used one of those today too without realizing it was working.
So it's nice to be able to mark off a to-do is done without it switching into the app. So that's
I did it accidentally today. I had something Fantastical that I had to say was done. I tapped it and it worked. Did not Fantastical. So that was that is a nice thing. So when you say have I used anything, I have used things.
You have. Yeah.
But and this is kind of a beautiful thing about that is that I used them without realizing. I discovered them magically, if you will, rather than, and that used to be an old, Apple has always been of a mind where they let you kind of discover features. And when you do something, it's like, oh, look at how this does this. And that's kind of how this has worked for me. It's kind of a little bit more the way of discovery. So I like it.
Yeah. Yep. It has been pretty good. The AirDrop stuff is nice, where you just bring the phones together, close by. You can bump them. You don't have to bump them, but it's got a nice little effect and everything. And so that was kind of nice. Seemed to work fine. I've only done it a couple of times. It's still AirDrop, so who knows if sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. We'll see. Maybe it'll work all the time now. I have no idea. That was kind of nice. And that's really top of mind for me of the stuff that I've noticed and have actually used
for iOS. Yeah, I will use downloaded maps for offline use. That's
that'll be a good one.
Definitely, particularly for hiking, I'll use that. I have not had opportunity to do that yet, but
okay,
I definitely will. But here's a question, Tom. How are you liking watchOS? Talk to me, baby.
So I have stated on this show, and I've stated to you multiple times in messages and things like that. We were watching the keynote, and for the event, I told you if I were going to work at Apple, the watch is the product I would like to work on. Mm-hmm. So I'm a big fan of Apple Watch. I love the Apple Watch. I have loved the Apple Watch. I won't say I love Series 0, Series 2, like the premise or the promise that it had, it kept me around because I thought, okay, this is going to get better. It's going to get faster. The software will catch up and hardware will make it better. And it did. Screens got bigger, brighter, everything, started to hum, and it's been great. Mm-hmm. I do not like this update.
Tell us why, Tom.
And I will say, as we mentioned earlier, sometimes you do things and they turn out great. Sometimes you do things and they turn out average. Sometimes you do things and they turn out not well. There are parts of it that I do like. It's not a complete clunker, right? It's not. But I feel, and at first I thought it was just me, but then I started to look around and I'm far from the only person. I sent you that Reddit thread and it was like my tribe was there. I was like, my people, look at you.
I love you guys.
And I think the guy says 10 things I hate about watchOS 10 or whatever he named it. It was, and there's just, it feels, and I'll preface it with this, that we don't know what's coming up. So some of these changes that right now seem arbitrary and kind of goofy, and it's like change for the sake of change. Apple's track record typically is pretty good. So I was like, okay, maybe they shot and they missed. Maybe there's something coming up in the super redesigned watchOS or Series 10 watch that's coming up where it'll be like, oh, that's why they were training us to do it this way instead of the old way, because this was coming out next year. But it's not here yet, so we can only go with what we have today. It feels to me that it is far more cumbersome to use. Things take extra taps, extra clicks. They've removed features. They've moved features. It's a cluster to me. And I know some people are content with it. And I think it's just like everything else. It's okay. Well, what pieces do you actually use of it? And if you're a very casual user and you just use a face and, you know, check your messages and stuff like that, it's probably okay. But first off, the thing most people seem to be complaining about is it used to be super easy to switch between watch faces. Yes. You would just swipe, right? And you could go between the faces. Can't do that anymore. You've got to tap and hold.
Right.
I
feel
switch.
That friction, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I never switched. Like I had, 3 or 4 watch faces I would use, but they were in particular situations. And so if I went to the gym, I would put on a different watch face just so I'd have, a set of complications that were more applicable for that activity, things like that. And so that one I didn't use a lot, but still it was nice just to do that. And this seems to me, and again, we don't know what's coming, but it almost feels like, well, that's the way you do it on iPhone. And that's the way you do it now on iPad. You press and hold, and then you swipe between your lock screens. So it's consistency. And it's like, well, maybe it is, but it's worse.
Right. There's more effort involved. I'm gonna throw something at you. I know you're building a gym, so you're going to walk to your garage pretty soon, But one of the easier ways I think that could be resolved, and I agree with you, it should be super easy to change those screens. But if you had a location-directed focus, it would do that. I used
to do that with an automation when I was driving over to the wellness center. When I pulled into the parking lot, I had an automation that would switch to the face and start a workout.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's funny, I haven't disabled that, and we've got a campus near that. And so when I drive over there, it's like, now switching to shipping. I was like, no. I'm still at work. I don't need it yet. Which I should just
but that doesn't resolve the issue. And I agree with you. I thought I was an idiot actually when I was using the betas, because I was like, I want to change my watch face, and I was sliding over from the side.
It must be a bug.
From the side. And yeah, right. Oh man. Yeah. And finally realized I had to press and hold in order to be able to do that. I agree. That's a little dumb.
Right. And the thing is, if it had been that way from the start, that's just the way it is. So you try to balance it a little bit with that. And then I know, there were times where I'd bump it with something and it would accidentally change and I'd have to switch it back. And so that one, I'm like, okay, it ain't great, but it's certainly not the worst thing.
No.
So there's
What is the worst thing?
Oh, it's coming. I got a list.
I know you do. Maybe longer than 10.
It is. We won't go through them all, but
okay, great.
The control center used to swipe up to get to control center.
Yes.
And now it's a side button.
Yes.
Why? I have no idea. No clue why. Other than now, if you swipe up, you get the smart stacks.
Right.
Apple seems intent on getting us to use these smart stacks. We had those as glances way back in the day in early watchOS versions. We had the Siri watch face, which was supposed to surface the information you need when you need it, and that didn't really work.
Right.
So maybe it works better here. I don't know. Jury's out on that one. We'll see. But they also, though, have that if you turn the crown.
Yes, right.
It does that. I was
just going to say that.
That pissed a bunch of people off. Because on the Ultra, that used to be how you got into night mode with the red watch face on the Wayfinder face and now on the new modular Ultra face. And so now you have a setting by default is set to auto. So it uses the ambient sensor and will turn the watch face red. The red watch face is really nice. I like it a lot.
Yes.
But there are times where if my sleeve is down and it's covering the thing, it's like, oh, night mode. I'm like, no, it's not night mode yet. And you can turn it off in the settings for the face. So, but a lot of people complained about that one. It's an annoyance. It didn't really make me mad or anything like that. The let's see, where do I want to go next? There's so much.
Well, let me say related to that and using the what used to be able to change it to night mode. You also used to be able to scroll through your list of apps that way, and if the one in the center, if you scrolled up, it would zoom right into it and open the app, and that's not there anymore.
Right.
Which is now another,
because you can't really move that honeycomb list around. It just goes
it's
up
just
and down, but it doesn't, like it used to go like 360. Right.
Yeah,
but you can't do that.
Talk to me about workouts, Tom.
Oh, Jeff.
I'm just going to jump right to it.
Rip the Band-Aid off, shall we?
I want it right. Yep.
Okay.
Tear it off. Let's
So the workout app. I use the action button on the Ultra to start the workout app.
As do I.
That still works fine. No problem. Yep. Where I've run into some friction with that now, that wasn't there before, is sometimes I will do multi-mode workouts. So I will hit the air bike for 15 minutes. I'll do maybe stretching for 20 minutes after that, or flexibility, as they have it labeled such. And used to be, you'd be in the midst of the first workout, you would swipe to the right, and you had 4 things to choose from there. Now you have 3. The one they took away was new. So you would just tap new, it would start the new workout. It would prompt you to choose which type of workout it was, and then it would start it. Now, there's just an empty spot there, which looks unbalanced and looks messy. But you have to end the workout. And then the confirmation that comes up now, which too I don't really like, says end workout or new workout. And I'm like, this makes no damn sense to me. And it's like, if I'm ending, I don't want to know. I want a new. I just want a new. Put the damn button back. But the other thing that I use frequently during the workouts is the Timers app.
Yes.
That took about 4 steps backwards. And you used to be able to set favorites, and they would show right up at the top of the list. So the ones that I commonly use during workout, as I'm sure most people do if they're going to the gym and doing weights and things like that, is you do your set, you have your rest period. So it would be depending on what type of workout you're doing. If you're doing high reps, your rest period is shorter. You're doing low reps with heavier weights, usually your rest period's a little longer. So I would just I have favorites for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. Super simple to get to. That's gone. So you get recents. So that's pretty annoying. I've often wondered why they haven't just put something like that into the workout app, like a shortcut to the timers or something. They've got, hey, guess what? They've got an open spot there now where they could you just swipe and go right to the timers. So you can fill that spot.
Apple.
The thing though that kind of complicates that even more, makes it even messier, is you used to be able to double press the digital crown, and it was like an app switcher. Mm-hmm. So if you were in the workout app, you went over to the timers, you double press the crown, you're back in the workout app. That's gone. You get like a recents app, or a list of recent apps in like that little card format that they have. So you can still do it, but you have to kind of peck around and stuff. And so it's just what I'm saying is like not everything, but too many things are just, it's like an extra tap, it's an extra swipe, it's an extra dig down this way and find this. And it just seems for a small screen device that I just don't want to fiddle with it that much. You got us used to this, and I thought it was pretty good. Like, I could see if they wanted to do visual changes.
Right.
But they did so many changes in the way that it operates.
And one of the things, and I think this is important to note. So yes, you did point me to a Reddit where everybody was crying about this. But I think the point is, it's not just you.
Right.
There are a bunch of people who have this same feeling about these things. And I'm a newer watch user. And like I said, I changed my watch face because, I got a nice shirt on and I want my watch face to match my nice shirt. I have a watch face for when we're doing what we're doing right now. They have a particular one that I use when we're recording. I have one actually now that you've set that is pretty much my day today. You sent me a nice watch face that I like, that I've made a couple of fine changes to, but for the most part, I liked what you had done with it. So I'm keeping that. And I have a working day watch face that is different than that has some things on it, which I change when I change focuses. So I have a focus that goes on when I start work at 9 a.m. that automatically changes those things. When it comes to workouts, I'm not doing what you're doing. So I didn't feel any of that friction at the start. I did notice that I had to do an extra step in order to end like if I was ending a hike, it did take longer. It was like, okay, whatever.
Right.
When you're doing a bunch of embedded workouts, I could see where that's a royal pain in the neck. And I think it's one of those things where if it was one thing, two things, but it's kind of snowballed into death by 1,000 cuts, that old phrase, right? Mm-hmm. It's just little annoyances that I felt like they had the interface pretty finely tuned, like with watchOS 9. Right.
And that's why I say, as if they wanted to spruce up the visual components of it. I don't like the new activity app. Like when you open it, it goes to the rings full size, and then you've got to scroll or swipe to see your move, your exercise stand, and things like that. I will say it seems to be better for me on my Series 7. It seems like on the Ultra Watch, the crown, the tension it takes to get it to flip between the different screens is more. And so it's like you flip it and like it doesn't go, and then it skips to, and it's like, oh boy. So that's a little messy. And some of the like visual fade in and things like that make it seem kind of not smooth. Mm-hmm. But good thing about software is any of that stuff, if enough people complain about it, they can fix it. I mean, it's not like it's a hardware flaw or something like that.
Right.
And so we'll give them some time, but I know a lot of people have been kind of and I'm still a big fan of the watch. That new face,
I love it.
Really like.
Yeah, it is, and it's great. It really is great. And the fact that you can create multiples of it for a variety.
Right. And so what I did for the timer thing to kind of get around that I was complaining about is I set up an automation so that when I start a particular workout type where I use the timers, which is mostly strength training, that kind of thing, it switches to a face where the bottom 3 complications on that new watch face are timers: 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minutes.
Oh, look at you. Okay.
But that didn't
shouldn't
quite
have had to do that.
I shouldn't, but okay, it didn't take long. But even with that, like when I do it, it takes you to the 2 minute timer, for example, but it doesn't start it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, still another tab. Come on, y'all. The Snoopy face.
Cute.
Yeah, I'll never use it. Like it just doesn't show enough stuff. But I'll admit, like sometimes in the evenings I put it on and I chuckle at the goofy animations and stuff. That they did I wasn't really even nice job with that. So credit where credit's due with that. And again, not completely satisfied with it, but I mean they're trying things, and we'll see where they go. I mean it's 10.0. Let's see where we're at 10.1, 10.2. Then when 11 comes out and stuff, and people adapt, we get used to things. And it was not as good as it was back then. Well, no, but it's okay.
Sounds like Trad Wife Twitter.
Who?
Trad Wife. You've never seen that? Traditional wife.
Oh, no.
Everything's better when you're walking around in a crazy dress and, making breakfast by killing the cow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But, no, I hadn't heard of that. Yeah. So those are my thoughts on the watchOS. But I still love my watch.
Yeah. I'm, like I said, I'm in.
And I've been using iPad OS. We're not going to talk about it on this show because it's getting close to time to wrap this one up.
It is time.
I've been doing a big stage manager experiment. And
we'll want to hear more about that.
Yeah, so maybe next show we'll throw that in. I think we've got it might have to be 2 shows from now. I think we've got a guest coming up pretty soon.
Look at us, I guess.
Yeah, another guest. People seem to listen more when we have guests. I don't know what that means, but
that means other people have friends and we don't.
True that. It's just us, man. Two old loners.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, I think, Jeff, I think we pretty much covered everything we have.
I think we have. I think we've nailed it. So just a reminder that you can get to us at feedback@basicafshow.com. We definitely are interested in hearing from you. Back catalog, basicafshow.com, or in your favorite podcast feed. Artwork, by Randall Martin Design. Randall's the best. We should put this at the front of the show and not the end, but we'll talk about that later. And then Psychokinetics is our music, and Psychokinetics kills it. Check them out and have a listen on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite music.
Well done.
Yeah, look at me. I can read things.
Well, that's it. So once again, as always, we do appreciate you being here with us. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your night, and we will talk to you next time.
See ya.